Um, one of the greatest mercies of Allah is paradise, because paradise is more than what we can ask for. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that no one will enter Jannah except through the mercy of Allah. He said, even you, Rasulullah, he said, even me, unless Allah has mercy upon me. Our deeds do not qualify us for Jannah, because however much we try and however much we sacrifice for Allah, it's still not good enough for Jannah. There's a hadith in a Muslim that talks about the lowest level of Jannah. And Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that this man will spend a long, long time burning in hellfire. You can even call it eternity, because it's been there for a long, long time. So then when Allah decides for him to leave hellfire, He sends him to this wasteland between Jannah and Nar. So then he begins to praise Allah. Oh Allah, thank you for releasing me from hellfire. Because he thinks this wasteland is the best compared to what he has been. So then he sees a tree in the distance, in the horizon, and he says, oh Allah, please let me go to that tree so I can eat from its fruits and drink from its water. Allah will say, oh son of Adam, how do I know that you won't ask me for anything else? He says, oh Allah, I promise you that I won't ask for anything else. So then he goes to that, Allah lets him go to the tree, and once he gets there, he sees a bigger tree in the horizon, a second tree. So then he asks, oh Allah, please let me go to the second tree. He says, then Allah will say, oh son of Adam, didn't you promise me that you wouldn't ask for anything else? Then he will say, oh Allah, I promise, this is the last time. So then Allah will let him go to the second tree, and then once he gets there, he sees another tree, a third tree, which is bigger. And the reason the trees are getting bigger is because he's getting closer to Jannah. And Jannah is so blessed that even the blessing is coming out of Jannah and leaking into the wasteland. So then he says, oh Allah, let me go to the third tree. So then Allah lets him go to the third tree. And then he sees a fourth tree that's even bigger, which is right next to the gates of Jannah. So then he says, oh Allah, I want to go there. Please let me go there. So then Allah will let him go. And then once he gets under the tree, he hears the people's voices from Jannah by the gates. And then he hears them having fun and enjoying themselves in Jannah and being pleased. And then he will say, oh Allah, let me inside the gates. I can't wait. And then Allah will say, oh son of Adam, what will please you? If I give you an earth and everything in it, would you be satisfied? He would say, oh Allah, I would be satisfied. And then Allah offers him another. He says, no, I will double that. I will triple that. I will 4 times that. Then when Allah says 5 times, this man will get so excited, he'll say, oh Allah, that's enough, please, I'm satisfied with 5. And then Allah will say, no, I will give you 10 times the earth and everything in it. And I will give you whatever pleases your heart and satisfies your eyes. This is the lowest level of Jannah. This is the mercy of Allah. The lowest person in Jannah is higher than the highest person of dunya could ever be and could ever imagine. And we ask Allah to make us among the people of Jannah. The 4th ayat, Malik Yawmiddin, owner of the Day of Judgment. Immediately after Allah mentions His mercy, He reminds us of the Day of Judgment. Because we need to have both in our mind. We can't depend too much on the mercy or too much, we can't be focused too much with the punishment, because Ibn Qayyim says that you need to have 2 wings, one hope and one fear. And if one outweighs the other, then you will have a distressed life, because if you rely too much on the mercy, then you will become lazy and careless, and you will say, oh, I don't need to pray, Allah is the most forgiving, or I don't need to fast, Allah is merciful. But then if you depend too much on the punishment, then you will lose hope and give up and not do anything. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, if the believer knew what punishment Allah has, none would believe in acquiring His paradise. But if the non-believer, if the disbeliever knew what mercy Allah had, none would hope of earning His earnings. Malik means the king or owner, like Malik Yawmiddin. Malik means the king or owner. Allah will be the only king on the Day of Judgment, and Allah will be able to claim anything than anyone, because everything belongs to Him, the Creator. There's a hadith in Muslim that says, Allah will grasp the earth and hold the heavens in His right hand and proclaim, I am the king. Where are the kings of the earth? Where are the tyrants? Where are the arrogant? No one will be able to claim anything besides Allah, and no one will be able to speak. No one will be able to speak without Allah's permission. Maliki Yawm. Yawm means a day or a period. It's also called Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of standing. Qiyamah means to stand. And this day, it won't be like any other day. It will be 50,000 years of standing and waiting for Allah, for His reckoning, and waiting for Allah to judge us. This day will be very chaotic, very hot, and everyone will be panicking. Some people will say, we just want this day to be over with, even if we're sent to hellfire, because they're so miserable. Imagine coming out of the grave, and then seeing the person next to you come out of his grave, and the person right here coming out of his grave, and then seeing millions of people in the horizon just popping up out of the graves. And then seeing the sky, the sun right above your head, and seeing the skies cracking, and the stars falling, and the dust and the mountains as dust, and people running around like drunks. Allah says this day will make a young child gray-headed, meaning that there is so much miserable, there is so much stress, so much chaos that it will make even a young child gray-headed. Maliki Yawmiddin. Ad-Din means the reckoning, the reward, or the punishment. Allah says in chapter 24, verse number 25, on that day, Allah will pay them their recompense of their deeds in full, meaning He will hold us accountable for every action we have committed. Umar ibn Khattab says, hold yourself accountable before you are held accountable, weigh yourselves before you are weighed, and be prepared for the biggest gathering whose knowledge encompasses your deeds. Meaning, be prepared before it's too late. Save yourself before it's too late. And the day of judgment will be a day of justice. Allah will even be just among the animals, because Muhammad ﷺ says there was a hornless goat being taken advantage by a goat with horns, and on the day of judgment Allah will give its revenge on the hornless goat. Will have its revenge on the goat with horns. So there will be justice among the animals. Also, just among the people too. Because there will be people who come with mountains of good deeds, such as praying and fasting and giving zakat, but because of their oppression towards others, or because they backbited others, or because they hurt one another, then they will have to give up some of their good deeds to those who they hurt, and if they run out of good deeds, they will have to take some of their bad deeds, and at the end He will lose everything.